Hey everybody, so Mr.S is back today, and I've got a really important discussion to talk about. I've noticed a lot of parents in today's generation, and I guess a lot of the generations that are being parents again, are using a new babysitter. So that lovely thing called the TV, when that thing was made, it was the best babysitter ever. I mean, it would just entertain those children for hours and hours and hours. However, now we have a new babysitter. It's called the cell phone. It's compact, it's easy, it entertains them, it talks to them, it makes them learn. Or does it? And we got another friend over here. Oh, this one, the tablet. I can take this into any classroom. Any classroom, the children are like, that's the tablet. That's an iPad. They know instantly what this device is. Now, what that's telling me that they have access to these devices. The problem with these devices is a couple things. First of all, children are not socializing when they're using these devices. They're not talking to people. They aren't exploring possibilities. A great story that I have, we were talking in one of my psychology classes, and we talked about this case that we had to analyze, and one of the parents said, well, I think that we need all the children to focus more on their computer skills, technology skills. We need to take away, why do we want the sandbox, or the blocks, or the art area? Those are insignificant because technology is taking over. Technology is the new way to do things. And the reason why this is important is because this is how some parents honestly think. And not saying that they're bad parents or they're bad people or any way like that, because you have to think, where is this coming from? Why are they saying this? And it's out of the goodness of their heart. So that there's good intention in what they're saying. However, sometimes intention can be misguided depending on the information that we have within us. So here I am, the educator. I got to explain to this person, why are these things important? Why is the block area important? They're just stacking up blocks and pushing them down. Why is that significant? Why is the sand area important? Why is the art area important? A lot of people obviously say art area, hey, that's pretty important. That's expressing yourself. Children are able to use different mediums to talk about how they affect their emotions and different ways to tell them, well, when I paint, it makes me feel this way, or what does it feel like to paint? What are the different colors and how they feel? Now, an interesting thing is how important the sand area and the block area are. These two places don't seem very important because it's like, what are they doing? They're just playing with blocks and sand. Now, the reason why something like the block area would be important is because the block area can be a very challenging place for children. It's a great place to learn about balance. It's a great place to learn about communication skills, especially when children are working in groups. Imagine how difficult it can be to work with another child and try to explain to a child, from a child's perspective, explain to another child what you want from your building. I want to build a castle, but I want my castle to have more cylinder blocks than square blocks. Now, this could be difficult if you don't know how to explain yourself. But a child might say, hey, I want more of these blocks here, and I'm going to put this, and you put that block there. So it's the bidirectional communication that's occurring during this active play that's allowing the children to communicate and work on their language skills. So something as simple as a block area might be like, why would the block area be important? Children are able to communicate with each other. Children are able to create groups and talk to each other about a common goal. They might have a common goal, and blocks are very interesting because they do tip over, they do fall over, and children have to learn about trying again, restarting in real life. Sometimes we fall, but what do? Just like the itsy bitsy spider, we do it all over again. We rebuild. So when a block falls, a child might even accidentally knock over a block structure, and that can be devastating because the child works so hard on that, but it's also great for them to rework on it. And then maybe this time they can use a friend. Now we're creating a social dynamic environment, and they can use their friend to help them work on the block area. So that's just the block area. And then I could go on about the block area. The block area is a fantastic place. You can use recyclable blocks. You can use foam blocks. Natural wood, really interesting. So the more abstract the block can get, the more interesting the play can get, because the children start testing out the different types of blocks on each other, and they'll try to balance. You can even try to do rock blocks. Like, I've seen at Balboa Park, people have rocks that they stack on each other, and that'd be fascinating to talk to the children about how do they balance the rocks and how they find the exact spot. Because one thing children need to work on a lot is their motor skills, and trying to place a block perfectly without having to tip over and fall is very difficult when your motor skills are not very developed. So it's good practice for them to keep trying and learning how to let something go and balance off. Because all those skills come back to other parts of their life. Catching a ball, using their fingers to write. So if you got really good stability with your hands, you'll have good stability with your writing. So everything kind of integrates back into each other. Let's talk about the sand area. Sand area is very similar to the block area in the sense that it could be a communal activity. Children can work together. And when their children are on screen time, they're not working together. They're not talking to each other. They're not socializing. And that's what you're seeing a lot in the generations that are coming up. There's no social skills. Everything's media. Like, I'll talk to you on Facebook, but if in person, they're like, I don't know how to talk to you. What do I talk about? And it's difficult because that's what's going to happen to the younger generations coming up. They're becoming so intertwined in media that they're not learning how to control their emotions, how to re-establish kind of their thought process. So, for example, if a child is really intense and you just give them the iPad, they're becoming reliant. They're no longer self-soothing. They're no longer self-regulating, but now they're regulating because you gave them an object to regulate to, which can be a problem. Just think about that right there and then. So a couple suggestions I have for parents to try, and even people, you might not be a parent. Maybe you would be a brother or sister, or maybe you're an aunt and uncle. Anything. Next time that you think about giving this to a child, try to challenge yourself and see what other activity you might do. So I know it's easy just to hand this in the back seat. Oh, take it. Just take it. Don't bother me. But remember, what would we have felt when we were kids? What did we really want? Why are we acting out? We're acting out. We want attention. We want to talk. Next time you're driving in the car with your child, ask them questions about what they're thinking about. Have stories with them. Say, oh my, once there was a monkey and he was walking in the forest, and you know what he found? He found a banana. And then where do you think the monkey went after? And all of a sudden now the child has taken over this activity that you started, and they're making it their own. But it's just a simple, I just start a story. What if elephants could fly? What would they fly to? And now the child's like, elephants and wings? Well, I guess if they could fly, they'd go here. And you just started a conversation with the child. Imagination. You're making them communicate with somebody. That's important. Communication skills are super important. Because in school, they always talk about the students that are like the bright students, and those are the ones that are talking. Because students who don't talk, how do we know where they're at? You could be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't communicate with others, how smart are you? How intelligent are you if you can't communicate your intelligence to others? So let's just remember that although technology, as fascinating as it is, as great as a babysitter as it is, let's try to monitor how much we use of it. Remember that socialization is always more important than screen time. Don't just hand your kid the iPad. Don't just give them the phone. Give them yourself. Give them your time, because that's really what they want. They don't want the iPad. They don't want the phone. They want you. But they're taking it as a self-soothing device, which will later on become reliant. Same kind of concept that people who eat for comfort or are emotionally attached to others for comfort, that becomes a comfort tool. And when it makes you feel good, you want more of it, and more of it, and more of it. So we want to stay away from that. We want to make sure our children are able to self-regulate and control their emotions. And just because they don't get what they want, and it's okay to be bored. It's okay not to have fun, because that's okay. But we can make things fun, even standing in line. And I'll make another video about how to make activities fun, how to avoid the death of the waiting room. Oh God, a waiting room. I don't want to wait. Or waiting in line with a child. So check out my other video and about waiting in line, and I'll probably let's call it Mr.S talks killing wait time. So, but thank you guys for listening in. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know. Ask in the comments. I've got a Facebook page that you guys can also go to. Just look up Mr.S Teaching Corner on Facebook and I'll pop up. And I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thank you, everybody.